Questions for your surrogate and egg donor. So these are back to the beginning when we say really do some soul searching, envision what type of relationship that you want to have, what is your matching criteria for your surrogate and your egg donor. I touched on this already, selective reduction and termination. So you need to make sure that you, what you envision you would do if you were to find out that there's anomaly with the child that your surrogate is carrying. What would you do in that situation? If you would terminate, then you need to make sure you're working with a surrogate who is comfortable with termination. If you would find out that you transferred an embryo, you have more than one embryo, right? You transfer more than one and then one of them splits and you have to consider selective reduction. You need to make sure that you're working with a surrogate who would selectively reduce. We talked about number of embryos to transfer. We really advocate for one embryo is the healthiest for the surrogate, for the baby. But if you want to transfer two, some clinics still do that, and you just need to make sure you don't match with a surrogate who is only willing to transfer one.